Slack is a communications tool for business that solves two problems. The first is it makes use of contextual human-to-human interaction through the use of channels and direct messages. The second is that it allows for machine-to-human and human-to-machine interaction. In this video, we're going to focus on the first of those two as we introduce you to the platform. By the end of the video, you'll be comfortable with the user interface and the features and functionality that exists, communicating with your peers using direct messages, and lastly, finding and navigating channels for contextual communication. Let's dive in. Now in front of me, you'll see the user interface that we're working with. On the top left-hand side, you'll see the name of your company and your name listed there. To the right of the company name, you'll notice a bell that allows you to configure your notifications. This system can get particularly noisy, so it's important to customize your notifications to ensure that you're not getting notifications for every single message in the company. You can snooze your notifications from here. You can choose your do not disturb schedule. So on evenings or weekends or when you're not working, you're not going to receive notifications on your mobile device or your laptop. And you can further customize your notifications from the preferences. Going down the left-hand side, you'll see an all threads option. Now this will show you a list of all messages or threads that you're a part of. You'll see a starred section. Now you'll notice that Mike and I communicate quite frequently, and so I've actually starred him right here. If I unstar him, he'll jump down to the direct messages section. Because he and I are constantly messaging back and forth, it allows me to add him to the starred section just like in Gmail or in Google Chrome. Now right below the starred section, you'll notice channels. Now I've only got one channel listed here today. The general communications channel is something that everyone in the company typically has access to. It allows for company-related communications, and generally it's a good practice to be in to minimize the amount of messages that are being sent to that channel. Moving down, we have our direct messages section, and you'll notice that there's an item here that says Slack bot. Now, as you use the platform more and more, you'll notice that automated or system messages are automatically sent to the Slack bot. We'll get more into that in another video. Below there, you'll see yourself, and this can be a particularly handy feature for sending yourself messages that you might need to reference in the future. This might be something you use if you need to send a link or a password or something like that to your cell phone, and you have the client or the Slack application installed on your mobile device. You can always jump into here and leave yourself notes. Now when you select something from the left-hand side, it will automatically change the view on the right. In this case, I've selected a message with Mike, and now you can see that message history or the thread on the right-hand side. I can see that I've starred Mike. He's currently away from his computer. I can see his name or whatever he has specified that he'd like to be listed as. There's an option to call Mike. Now, this is done through the computer using your internet connection, so your success here will depend on how strong of a connection you have. I can click on the eye to show more detail about this conversation. So you can see his time zone. I can see if we've pinned any items to this conversation or shared any files. And I can click on conversation settings for some extra options. The search option along the top by default will search all of your threads, all of your conversations, and all of the channels that you have access to. It's a general or global search. You can narrow your search down, but by default it's going to search everything. This is a great tool for looking back on keywords or looking for file attachments maybe that were sent through the system. Over to the right, I can see activity. And finally, I can click on Show Starred Items to see a list of any messages that I have starred. So an example of this would be, let's say this message was of importance to me and I wanted to be able to reference it later on. I can simply hit Star Message, and now it's going to show up in the Starred Items list. This will be accessible from anywhere I am in the system. Messaging back and forth is very intuitive and similar to what you'd experience on a text messaging app or with any instant messaging platform you've used in the past. I can simply type to Mike, and it'll pop up on his system. I can also attach additional information to our interaction that may be helpful. For context, I may want to upload a file or bring in a document from Google Drive, or perhaps just send a link. Now that we know how to send direct messages, let's see if we can find a channel to join. First, you're going to hover over the channels option, and this will bring up a list of channels. Now in this case, I want to join a customer service channel that we have at our company. I simply type CUS to start typing the name of customer, and my list has filtered down to a channel called customer service. I can preview the channel, and if this is the right channel that I'd like to join, I can simply hit join channel. Now that I've joined this channel, I can scroll back in time to see discussion that took place about this topic or within the channel over the last few days, weeks, or even months. As you can see, images that are attached show up in line. I can zoom in by clicking on them, or if I'd like, I can download it to my computer by clicking on the download option. If you click on the three dots, you'll notice there's a few additional options, such as sharing with another channel or another direct message. I can add a reaction, such as a thumbs up. I could pin it to the conversation to ensure that it stays accessible to others that may be joining the conversation later on, or I can view details of the attachment. There are two types of channels that you can join or be part of. There are public channels, which is what this customer service channel is. Now, public doesn't mean it's accessible to the general public. It just means it's public to our organization or our company's workspace on Slack. It means that anyone in the company can join that channel, just like we just did. In addition to public channels, there's also the concept of private channels, and private channels require an invite in order to have access and are topic sensitive. In other words, you have to be invited and given access to that channel in order to see the content within it. This is a great example of something that's used for management, HR, or confidential discussions. That's all there is to using Slack. The best way to learn though is to just jump in, start using it, and let us know if you have any questions.